Hi, I'm Rick Kaler. Thanks for joining me today. I'm in a kind of a little different garb here than normal. The reason is this is my daughter's birthday. And on her birthday every year, I wear the clothes that I had on when she was born. So this is that day. So it's kind of a fun tradition. Well, let's talk about problematic money behaviors today. Problematic money behaviors are never about the money. You've heard me say that time and time and time again if you've listened to many of my videos or read many of my columns. Suggesting cognitive action steps can only resolve about 20% of these problematic behaviors. For example, let's say there's a challenge in making a regular contribution to a retirement plan. Some people might respond well to the suggestion to set up automatic monthly withdrawals from their checking account. This might be something they never thought of, and a simple call to their bank solves the problem. Job done. Yet for the other 80%, that suggestion just is not helpful. It's like they know that. There's an unlimited number of really good reasons it can surface, like the thought contributing to a retirement account isn't a good idea. It isn't fun. I don't understand it. Or setting up a monthly draw isn't going to work. There isn't enough money. I couldn't save that money. Or, yeah, I'll do it, but the call to the bank never happens. And it can go on and on and on and on. The point is the behavior never changes. The thought is there, I need to do this. Behavior doesn't change. If someone in this position calls me and says, what should I do with this? I just can't go into action. I really struggle with what to say next. What does a person do? What are the next steps? My typical response is to explain that the solution doesn't lie in knowing more information or knowing that, well, just make a call to your bank and have the money taken out automatically or to your PR or HR department. It comes in understanding the emotional baggage that underlies the behavior. In this case, the behavior of not doing it. The best thing that can be done is to call a financial therapist and set up that appointment. That's typically when the phone gets silent. It's frustrating for me to be unable to give some really solid action steps. It feels kind of like a cop-out on my part. So what I thought I'd do today is share a few thoughts from the Financial Therapist Toolkit that might help start the process of changing a problematic financial behavior. The key to understanding and changing problematic financial behaviors isn't to have a strong arm approach to changing the behavior. And the strong arm approach can be by you or by another person. It might work for a few days or weeks, but it usually is not any good in producing lasting change. We typically have a pretty strong inner critic that attempts to blame and shame us into action, blame and shame that hurtful behavior so that we stop it. Yet, how often have you said something like, there's a part of me that wants to stop, that knows I should stop, but it doesn't stop. There's another part of me that enjoys whatever the opposite is, or can't help whatever the opposite is. So it's really useless to shame, criticize, or fight with the part that appears to be the problem. The goal isn't to get rid of the part with the problematic behavior or force it into changing. Without a doubt, you've already tried that and it hasn't worked. Instead, it helps to start by understanding that every seemingly illogical financial behavior makes perfect sense when we discover the underlying belief held by the part of us that drives it. The first step to changing a problematic financial behavior is simply becoming aware of the various parts of us that are engaged in the behavior and those wanting the opposite. Sometimes it can be two, sometimes it can be several. And they often are polarized or sitting on opposite sides of the table. And that's important, but rarely is awareness enough. The second step is building a relationship with those parts, bringing curiosity and an attitude of non-judgment to hearing the money scripts, beliefs, and stories held by them. You might be surprised to know that every part of us that appears to be the problem really has our best interests at heart. We just have to take the time to listen to ourselves. The financial therapist's approach is to support you in building a relationship with the various parts of you that drive the illogical financial behavior, that criticize, that try to control it, and those that are really suffering from the pain of the consequences of the behavior. Helping to change a problematic money behavior requires understanding the cause and effect of not just the behavior, but of the impact on one's interior system. Finding a quick fix usually doesn't work, nor is it effective if the goal is to stop or change the problematic financial behavior with the thought that everything else is then okay, if we can just stop it. Building financial health is not an event. It's not a one and done, but it's a process. And it starts with getting curious about the stories, the beliefs, and the feelings of the various parts of ourselves that are behind our actions. Thanks for joining me.